Leica have been making cameras for over 100 years, and this might just be the most controversial thing they've ever done. So this guy over here is the Leica M EV1, an electronic viewfinder camera and the first of its kind in the Leica M range of cameras. So I was fortunate enough to take this camera on a trip with me to the Kruger National Park and really get a feel for what it's like to use this camera in the field in both like a wildlife safari setting, but then also as a daily carry in street photography. So for those of you who don't know, Leica M cameras have been around for a really long time, with the first Leica M camera, the Leica M3, being released in 1954. Which revolutionized rangefinder photography, combining the viewfinder and rangefinder into a single bright window, which gives you that classic rangefinder focusing feeling where you have the box that you need to line up from the rangefinder patch, which looks something like this. So even today, Leica are still using the same M mount lens system and optical rangefinder. Well, until now. While the Leica M EV1 still uses the same M mount lens system, for the first time ever, Leica has introduced an electronic viewfinder in place of the traditional optical rangefinder. Now, a lot of you are probably asking, is this the end of the Leica optical rangefinder experience? And the answer to that question is no, it's not. Leica has made it extremely clear that the M EV1 is an addition to the M series of cameras and not a replacement for cameras like the M11, which is likely why they called it the M EV1 and not the M11 EV or something like that. At this point in time, Leica is still producing its iconic digital and film M series cameras, like the Leica M11, the slightly controversial M11D, and the classic reintroduced 35mm film camera, the Leica M6, among others. All right, so let's get into the M EV1 and find out what it's all about. Okay, so without boring you too much with the specs, the camera features a 60.3 megapixel BSI CMOS sensor paired with the Maestro 3 processor, like what we see in the M11. So just like all Leica M series cameras, the M EV1 is a fully manual focus camera. So naturally, it slows you down quite a bit, which can be both a pro and a con. But we'll get into that a little bit more later in the video. So one really cool feature unique to the M EV1 is the new custom function switch, which on cameras like the M11 would have been the rangefinder frameline selector. So there are three things you can set this up to do. Firstly, we have a 1.3 and 1.8 times digital zoom, making use of that ultra high resolution sensor. Focus aid, which without the precision of a rangefinder, I found really useful for critical focus. And focus peaking, which for my style of shooting, I didn't really make that much use of. So the camera features a single SD card slot as well as 64 gigabytes of internal storage. So the camera has 5 color profiles, or as Leica calls them, film styles, and you can get some incredible looking images straight out of camera with these. So the 5 film styles are standard, vivid, natural, monochrome, and my personal favorite, monochrome high contrast. So I'm someone who likes to edit my photos after the fact and have full control over what my photos look like. So whilst shooting in JPEG on the M EV1, the film style will actually be burnt into the image, whereas if you shoot in DNG, it'll just be displayed as a filter over the raw file. So what this just basically allows you to do is remove the film style in post if you want to. Another really useful thing about having an EVF on this camera is the fact that there's a built-in diopter. So people with poorer eyesight can make adjustments to the EVF. And this is a common frustration among people who wear glasses and shoot with an optical rangefinder camera. With an optical rangefinder, you're not seeing exactly what the lens is seeing. So when it comes to composing photographs with ultra wide or slightly longer lenses, it can be tricky to frame up your shot. That's where an EVF comes in handy. What you're seeing through the EVF is exactly what the lens is seeing in real time, making it super easy to compose your shots and across the board a benefit. During my time with this camera, I was shooting with the 50mm f2 Summicron lens, but I'm really excited to test this camera out with some other Leica M mount lenses. I mean, there's over 70 years of lenses to choose from. I mentioned earlier that the manual focusing aspect of this camera slows you down quite a bit, which can be both a pro and a con. With an optical rangefinder camera, you can quite quickly find focus by lining up the overlaid image from the rangefinder patch, whereas with the EVF, I found it quite tricky to get critical focus without using the focus assist, and this just resulted in a lower hit rate in a faster paced environment. Now, with that being said, the photos that I did manage to get in focus, I was extremely happy with. I mean, the resolution of this camera is insane. However, I always say, even if you had 1,000,000 megapixels, out of focus
is out of focus.
So despite it taking me some time to get used to manually focusing on this camera's EVF, I still managed to capture some incredible photos at Kruger National Park. I mean, look at that detail. I was blown away by how crisp some of these images are, and I'm not usually one for pixel peeping, but I love the fact that I could crop into my images and recompose them to have completely different looking images from the same one, just because you have so much resolution to work with. But let's be honest, if you're a wildlife photographer, this probably won't be your first choice of camera. But if you're a street photographer looking to slow down and be ultra accurate with your compositions, this is definitely a viable option. I personally had a really good time walking around the streets in my neighborhood, shooting more street style photography, which I imagine is more aligned to the kind of people looking into the Leica M system anyway. Now, as we know, Leica cameras are not cheap. It's a premium product, and you can feel it in the build quality and tactile nature of the camera. So, do I think this is an M11 killer? No, I don't. But I do think there is a place for it in the Leica M series of cameras, especially for those who want to be more precise with their compositions, or perhaps people new to the Leica M system, coming from something like the SL or Q series, or any other mirrorless camera for that matter. Alright guys, my name is Emrhys, and that was a look at the Leica M EV1. I had a really good time testing this camera out and putting it through its paces. Remember, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.